All right, our next topic is Cuomo versus progressives, and I'm going to bring up the article here from the American Prospect, Brittany Gibson, and basically this is how Andrew Cuomo is fighting progressives in New York City. And the other question we're going to answer is Cuomo trying to kill all third parties in the New York state? This is a big fight that's been going on for a while. Let me see if I could read a passage for you all real quick. The fusion voting system is part of how the Working Families Party gained its now successful place in New York politics. Since its founding 20 years ago, WFP-backed candidates have won offices at all levels of government and passed legislation that prioritizes, as the party name suggests, working people. This summer, the party won resounding victories in New York State legislature primaries, taking down several establishment incumbents and replacing them with, get this, with Democratic socialists. So basically, what Cuomo and his cohorts are trying to do is they're trying to raise the minimum. It was 50,000 votes before, and then now they raised it. They're trying to raise it to, matter of fact, I think they did already, to 130,000 votes, or 2% of the total voter turnout, whichever one is higher. So before we move on to the next part of the article, I want to give it back to the panel.
Yeah, so you said 130,000 votes, right? But actually, we're going to have record turnout this year. So really, that number is going to come out to way higher than that, because if you take 2% of whatever the turnout is going to be, we're looking at probably close to 200,000 votes that are going to be needed by the WFP just to stay on the ballot. We talked before about, like, the establishment, what's the real challenge to the establishment in the House, right? I mean, in this case, New York, Cuomo doesn't have to worry about Republicans.
Nope.
He knows that his antithesis, like his his party that's against him is the Progressive Party. I mean, he knows that that's the party that has the most power, that has the potential to really do real damage to him. So that's why he's trying to get them knocked off the ballot. I'll say also 33 WFP backed candidates won contested state primaries in June, and another 4 congressional candidates won their primaries. So it just goes to show that this party has real power, is winning real elections, and you can see why Cuomo's so scared of them.
This is like revenge, because Cynthia Nixon, she got like 500,000 votes against him in 2018, I think it was. This is like a direct blowback from him, trying to get revenge on the Working Families Party because of it. And we know he's only scared of the left, because if this policy of 130,000 votes would have been into effect in 2018, none of the other parties would have been eligible other than the Conservative Party. He doesn't care about them so much. He's not afraid. As a matter of fact, he works with Republicans a lot of the times. Yeah. So he only cares about a challenge from the left.
George Carlin said, "Is one big party and we ain't in it."
Yeah,
that's what it is. Is that Cuomo is not scared of Republicans because they like doing the tennis match back and forth. It's the same thing with Democrats throughout the country. You see how easily and how strong they can get when it comes to fighting against progressives. You see them pull out all these strategies and all this chess and all this stuff that you were like, wow. Even here, they're going to voter suppression. Is there a strategy? Just like it was done in Pennsylvania recently, they got the Green Party off the presidential ballot. Yeah. So it's like when you don't have anything to run for, you have to. They're scared of a progressive movement, because if a progressive movement gets in and you get a progressive president, progressive governor, progressive senators, there's no going back to the corporatism. Yeah. Once people start getting, wait, you mean they pass Medicare for all? Yeah. They're never going to vote for corporatism after that. You're going to get just taxpayer funding, all these things, and then the economy is going to shoot up because we're investing in ourselves versus just all our money to the crazy corporations. So when it comes to Cuomo, it's sad to see how viciously they fight against progressives and anyone on left of their center, because
and one of the things that goes unsaid regarding this possible blue wave is, besides the Senate and the House, the Democrats win a lot of state seats too. They could possibly have a lot of states where they could control the state House, Senate, and governor mansion. So it could be a blue wave that way as well, and that's gonna be even better for progressives.
And the thing is, you remember, is how funny is like, what was it like back in March and February? Everybody's like, Cuomo for president, 2024, Cuomo, and people were even talking about possibly having Cuomo replace Biden and all this stuff like this. Every like day, it's just like you get more and more of like Cuomo true color, like, you know, people that know about this guy. But the establishment may fall behind him in 2024, you know, but I don't know, man. I don't think, you know, we're going to be here, like Gabe said earlier, right? 2024, the lesser of two evils. Yeah. They're going to be like, it's going to be Cuomo or is it going to be Trump again? And then Gabe is going to be like,
bro, that's the Republicans' best move is just run Trump again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. They will.
All right, so Trump again. I want to show you guys this other part of the article, and I just want to button down this point. So Cuomo did try in March 2019. Cuomo and other Democratic elites pushed to ban fusion voting, but came up short. Right, so he tried to do it himself, but the new viability thresholds were determined by the Public Campaign Financing Commission. So these people right here, they're the ones that pushed it through, which is also authorized to vote on statewide election issues last November. Now, this is something that I thought was very curious. Where is it? Right here. U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer tweeted that the commission should have been focused on money in politics, not fusion voting. Jermaine Williams called it Trumpian behavior. Now, all of a sudden, we're seeing Chuck Schumer doing some progressives, making some progressive head fakes, like as if another progressive might challenge him in 2022. What you guys think about that?
I was very surprised by that quote. I was honestly, when I saw that, I was like, wait, did I read that right? Was that really Schumer? Like, honestly, I was very surprised by that for him to go against Cuomo in that way. Yeah. Another thing I'll say too, real quick, is that, you know, I'm very happy that the WFP exists, and you know they definitely have their place. But as a person who votes in New York, I've seen people on my WFP line. They're not exactly the true progressives that we would talk about on this channel either. You know what I mean? They're really just Democrats for the most part who are establishment that maybe lean a little bit left, you know, probably even to the right of AOC. And we all know that AOC, as good as she is, you know, she's not fully to the left the way we wish she was. So, you know, for these people to be fighting this hard against people that are on this WFP line that aren't even really all that progressive, it just goes to show how weak they are and how scared they are.
Yeah. And one thing we know that we know they're not that progressive is after they endorsed Bernie in 2015 and he got a 85% of the membership vote, this time around in 2019 the leadership endorsed Elizabeth Warren, out of all people. They endorsed Elizabeth Warren because the leadership, that's who they wanted, pretty much. The way that they have it set up is that they have the leadership vote and then they have the member vote. It's like a few dozen versus like 20, 30,000. I don't know how many, but they hold the same amount of weight. And by the end, Warren got like 60% or something like that. So that meant that it had to be like all the leadership and a little bit of the membership. And this time around, as opposed to 2015, they wouldn't release the totals. They wouldn't release how many, like what percentage of the membership voted for Bernie versus Warren and what percentage of the leadership did. So all that means is that they all went for Warren, and then the membership was like, nah, we want Bernie. We wanted Bernie in 2015. We want him even more now. What sense does this make? But the leadership, some kind of deal or whatever, and you know, and that's what they endorsed. Eventually, when Warren jumped out, that's when they went and endorsed Bernie, but that was too late.
So they got their own super delegates, basically.
So this is gonna get me in trouble. But what do you say? Like, are they just like the new Justice Democrat that doing ads for like Biden and stuff?
Not at all. No, because the Justice Democrats are doing it after the fact. You know, they want it. You know, they're just trying to beat Trump right now. Yeah. The Working Families Party, when there still was a chance to beat Biden, they didn't try to.
And if you want to know something about the Working Families Party, is that in the race between AOC and Joe Crowley, the Working Families Party endorsed Joe Crowley. He actually was on the ballot against AOC on the Working Family. I believe he was on the ballot. Izzy, you could correct me.
He said he couldn't get off because it was too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely on the ballot under the WFP. Yes.
But they get funded by unions typically, and that was another way that Andrew Cuomo signaled a punishment to the Working Family Party, was to have unions who back Cuomo. They pulled a lot of their money out of there. So they're really reliant on money, which explains why they do certain head fakes towards people like the establishment.
One thing we know about Cuomo is that he knows how to raise money, and then he knows how to give contracts with the people that help him out and give him money.
I just want to throw this last quote real quick, John. I'm going to come to you after this. I like this strong statement from Jamal Bowman. He said, Governor Cuomo is funded by the corporate elites. That's who supports his campaigns. That who funds his campaigns, who will be on both the Democratic Party line and the WFP line. And the governor also surrounds himself with former Republican operatives that view budgets through an austerity lens and not through a values lens, in terms of being a true democratic state and truly being for working class people. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, if you want to look at, like, what a corrupt college politician looks like, just look at Cuomo.
Yeah. A Machiavellian. He's very tricky. He's a smart guy that you don't want to be your enemy. But unfortunately, I proudly call him my enemy. And I want him to definitely go down. Every time he makes a move, I'm going to expose him, even though we don't have 1 million subscribers yet. But I want this guy to be in a bad shape if he does run in 2024. We're going to make it happen. All right. Any other last comments?
Number one.
Yeah, I don't understand how people could get excited. Like, if people just read about him and, like, just learn a little, like, how could... That's why I was shocked when people were like, he brought New York cases rate down. Like, dude, you created that. You created your own problem, so you try to fix your own problem. Everybody's like, he's everybody's hero. He's going on his brother's show every day to talk about how great of a job he's doing.
And to BS. The people who are listening who are from New York, you know, again, the WFP is not the be-all, end-all solution for us progressives, but please vote on their line this year. So even if you're voting for Biden, even if you're voting for the establishment, vote on the WFP line so we can keep them on the ballot.
In the comments below, let us know, what do you think of Andrew Cuomo, right? Is he enemy number one for 2024? Or is Gavin Newsom, he's on my list too, because he vetoed ranked choice voting. So you let me know,
that guy.
Or unless you have a third person, let us know in the comments below who's your enemy number one for who might run in 2024. Like and subscribe.